Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for getting familiar with the Beeswax platform. This is just going to be a basic overview of the Beeswax platform to help you get familiar with the UI or just to get a refresher on all the great available features. This is being recorded, so we will be sending out the recording in the next day or so to everyone who signed up. So if you missed the beginning or can't stay for the whole thing, you will be able to access it later. I'm Erin Jeffrey, Senior Marketing Manager for Beeswax, and I'm joined here by Jane Marchetti from our account management team, and she will actually be leading you through the platform walkthrough. Our agenda is as follows. Jane will walk you through how to get started with campaign trafficking and creating line items, and then she'll share a list of new features coming in the next few years. At the end, we will be allowing time for question and answer. So if you have any questions as she takes you along in the demonstration, feel free to write it in the chat and we'll leave some time at the end to answer them.
Thanks, Erin. Hey, everyone. Excited to be here to take you through the UI. And I'm just going to jump right into it. So the view you're seeing here is our test account, and this is the view that all customers see when they log in. One thing I want to note on the appearance is that we do have the ability to white label the UI, so you can do things like customize fonts, colors, add your company logo, a lot of great tools to tailor make the UI to really fit the look and feel that you'd like. So this is, again, without any of those features, but something you can work with your account team on or follow up with for more information after this. So before I dive in even further, I will mention that the typical UI walkthrough takes about an hour. So we're going to do a very high level overview today, just going through the main objects here in the trafficking tab. So advertisers, campaigns, line items, and creatives, and really take you through how to set up those objects to get a campaign running. You'll see here we also have a lot of other features in the UI. We have dashboards where you're able to create different buildable dashboards based on our reporting views, which are all available here in the dropdown under reporting. We have admin tools that allow you to do things like set up new users, do configuration of multi-account settings, a lot of great behind the scenes tools there that I won't go into, but again, happy to follow up with you on questions for a more in-depth walkthrough. And then we have some of our more advanced monitoring and analytics tools in the tools dropdown. So again, for today, I will just stick with these major trafficking objects. And so we're going to start with our advertiser. And you can really think of the advertiser as the shell under which campaigns, line items, and creatives are nested. If you're an existing Beeswax customer, you also may notice that things look a little bit different here than they do in your UI today. So as many of you know, if you work with us now, we are undergoing significant UI enhancements right now and over the next few years as well. So really excited about the investment we're making in new features, new tools, and improving workflow overall. So what I'm going to show you today gives you a peek inside all of those new views. And if you're an existing customer, you can look forward to seeing this in your UI very soon. So with that, I'll go ahead and do new advertiser. So the name we're going to start with, I'll just do Jane Demo. For the domain, which is required, I'll do beeswax.com. The category, so this is the category that publishers will see associated with your advertiser. So you want to try to choose the most accurate option. I'll go with advertising for this purpose. There are some other options here. Again, going to stick with the basics today, but you can assign an alternative ID, which allows you to report on this advertiser against that ID in reporting. Moving down to other defaults. For default continent, I'll do North America. We have a currency option here, which allows you to do euros or pounds. I'll stick with US dollars for now. And there are a few other options here that I won't select for the purposes of this demo, but we have this great tool called presets. So presets allow you to pre-configure settings for a campaign, a line item, or even targeting. So let's say you know that you always want the same settings applied on your campaign or your line item. You can save those as a preset and then apply them here so that you don't have to, redo the settings each time. So if I knew that I always wanted the same line item settings associated with this advertiser, I could choose the preset here. And again, I'll show you that preset option as we move through the workflow. And then that's really it for the advertiser. So again, there are some SCAD options here around for mobile app that I won't go into, as well as the creative thumbnail that I'll also skip for today. I'll just give this a minute to save. Of course, it's giving me some trouble right now during the demo. Let me just give it a moment. Okay, so I'm gonna just go ahead and sorry, just give me a minute, everyone. I'm actually just gonna refresh and see if that helps. Okay. Let's just go back to the advertisers. I have a test here set up, so let's just use that one and continue to go through. So after the advertiser setup, I'm gonna go into creatives, and I'm actually gonna create my creative now. And the reason I want to do this at this step in the workflow is that a creative is really a standalone object that is going to not live as an assignment to my advertiser, but instead always live under my creatives tab so that I can go ahead and reuse that creative for other advertisers or lines if I wanted to. So I'm going to do that now. The first step is to select your creative type. So we have banner options, video options, native. For now, I'm going to just go with banner image because I'm going to traffic the asset directly into the UI. And I'm going to name this Jane Demo. Start and end date, optional if you want to select that, but I'll go ahead and select a start date of the 30th. Okay, so advertiser. So here's where you'll actually go ahead and assign your advertiser. So if I created that Jane demo, that would show here. I'll just go ahead and assign it to a prior test. You'll notice it had the same settings as what I had populated in the beginning of the webinar. So those will show here. And then add content. So this is where I'm actually going to upload my asset. If I had selected the tag option, it would give me a different option to insert the tag here. If you have other assets already existing, you can select them here. I'm going to go ahead and upload this demo creative, select upload. So it looks like we're having some issues. So I'm going to go ahead and just assign an existing creative. The URL can be beeswax.com. And then there'll be other creative attributes here, exchange specific options for Google AdX, and then pixels and scripts, right? So if you want to add any third-party tracking or impression pixels, here's where you do that. And we're going to do save and continue. I haven't created my line item yet, right? But if I was creating the creative after the fact or assigning it to a line item that already existed, I could select that here. You can do a creative start and end date, and then I'm going to continue here, and there's an option to add on vendor fees. So we'll talk about vendor fees at the line item too, but you can either create a custom vendor fee on a CPM or percentage basis if you'd like to assign that to any given campaign, line item, or creative, or we also have pre-existing options you can choose as well. So I'm not going to add any vendor fees for the purposes of today, but now I'm going to go back to advertisers. So we're going to use this Jane test advertiser, and I'm going to click into this campaign pill. And so you'll see I have a campaign here already, but we're going to walk through a new campaign. So I'm going to go ahead. You'll see our advertiser is assigned here. Campaign name, we'll just do Jane Test. And then here are those preset options again. So I mentioned these before, right? But let's say, again, I know that I always have the same campaign settings. I can go ahead and choose a preset here that I've already set up. Or once I create this campaign, I can actually save the settings as a preset. So they'll pre-populate once again. Start date, so I'll pick June 30th. Again here, currency, dollars. So moving to budget type, right? So there are a few options here. You can go with spend with vendor fees, or impressions. So spend and impressions, pretty self-explanatory. Spend with vendor fees will allow you to incorporate any vendor fees you select into your overall budget. So this ensures that at the end of the campaign, the budget you enter is going to account for both media spend and the vendor fees. If you select spend and then add vendor fees on, there'll be additional fees on top of the budget. So for today, I'll just do spend and I'll do $1 here. You can also add a daily budget, and I won't do that given we're just doing a test campaign here, but we do recommend generally setting a daily budget just to ensure that, if you want to pace evenly in addition to applying pacing, that you're putting a daily maximum cap on the delivery each day. So again, can dive into this with your account team more in a more in-depth demo, but do recommend setting a daily budget. And again, I'll skip over some of these more advanced settings, but I do want to touch on segment extension here. So segment extension is an option to extend a first or third party audience across devices. And we have a few different options here. So we have the Freewheel ID network, which is our proprietary in-house graph. We have an option with LiveRamp and TabAd. So what this allows you to do is, again, let's say you have a segment that's cookie based, which is not going to be addressable across CTV. You could use the segment extension option to expand the reach of that audience into CTV. So I'll just go ahead and select Freewheel ID network here. There's a person or household option. I'll choose households. And then you can decide which segments you'd like this applied to. So it'll be all first or third. Again, a lot more nuance here around the segment extension. So again, please follow up with your account team to get more information on the options, but a really great tool to expand addressability across platforms. And then we have some of our more advanced optimization tools here. So bid modifiers and delivery modifiers. So a bid modifier allows you to modify your CPM bid based on any given parameter or a set of parameters. And so this allows you for just more granular optimization control within a single line item. Delivery modifier is a similar concept, but delivery allocation instead of bid CPM adjustment. So allows you to say, let's say I want to deliver 40% of my budget to this specific app list and then the remainder to this other set of apps. So something you can do with a delivery modifier to help control. We also have a bid model version of a bid modifier, which is essentially a multivariate version that allows you to do more complex permutations for optimization there. So again, not something I'll go into too much in depth today, and I won't apply it here. But you'll see that this is also an option on the line item. Keep in mind we're on the campaign right now. So we may advise that you apply some of these settings on the line item level, because if they're on the campaign, right, they'll apply to all lines that you might house within the shell of that campaign. So keep in mind that that will happen as you're going through setting up your campaign. And then ghost bidding. So this is a fairly new feature for us, and it's a great incrementality testing tool where We'll simulate a ghost bid and then predict if the bid had won. And then you'll be able to perform incrementality analysis against those ghost bids and wins without having to pay for the control group. So this is currently in beta right now and will be released in full GA later this year, but really powerful tool. And again, follow up with us afterwards to learn more. So I'll do save and continue. Now here's that vendor fee tab again. So we saw this in the creative, we'll see it in the line item, but option to add vendor fees at the campaign level. And then I'll just do save and exit. Perfect. And okay, so here's the campaign that I just created, right? Jane test 3, but I want to go ahead and create a line item because you'll see there are 0 line items. So I'll just click into the line item pill and I'll do new line item. So this, for existing customers, this is the part that's going to look a little bit different, right? Because this is our new, what we're calling line item V2, right? So a brand new workflow with new features. Really excited again about the investment we've made here to really improving our UI. So hope that comes through as we walk through. And then again, this will be rolled out for all existing customers throughout this year. So I'll just name this similarly. You'll notice I'll choose banner, right? Because that banner creative is the creative that I uploaded, but I would choose video or native if I had a video or native creative. Programmatic guaranteed. So this is not an option I'll select here either, but this option will allow you to traffic a PG deal, and it will also remove your ability to layer on a lot of targeting, right? Because with PG, that is not permitted. So keep that in mind. That will limit your control as you go through the setup if you choose that option. So I'll do create and continue. Now notice on the right here, my campaign settings are populating. So this is a really great way as you go through to see, okay, I'm reminding myself this is what I set on the campaign level. It's a really great way to reference back. And this is a new feature of this line item workflow. So I think a really great reference point. And then again, you'll see the line item settings populate once we go through. So I'm going to choose the start date again as the 30th. Budget type, same budget types that we already reviewed. So I'll do spend, again, keeping in mind, if you select vendor fees, you may want to use spend with vendor fees to ensure the budget is encompassed within your larger budget entry. Bidding strategies. So also something that might look a little new is this CPA option. So we do have a new CPA bidding strategy in development right now, coming later this year. Very excited about that, and a lot more to come from our product team on that option. But for now, we're just going to go with one of our legacy options. So you'll see there are different pacing options as well as just flat CPM, CPC. I'm going to go with flat CPM here, but you'll also notice that there are custom bidding strategies showing up here. And so this is going to be if you decide to use a bidding agent, which is our very advanced tool that allows you to create your own custom bidding strategy. And so that would show up here under custom bidding strategies if you've decided to build out a bidding agent. But today we'll just do flat CPM. I'll do my bid as $1. Bid shading here is also an option. So I'm sure many of you are familiar with the onset of first price auctions. A lot of DSPs are offering a bid shading option now, which will look at historic win rate data, and using an advanced algorithm will reduce your bid to allow some savings while also, attempting to keep win rate steady. So this is a really great option to enable in almost every case. And then if you're new to bid shading, we have less aggressive, more aggressive, or normal. And less aggressive is a great place to start if you haven't used this before. So meaning we'll reduce your bid in a lesser increment than we might at the normal setting. And so if you're concerned about win rate or performance, it's a great place to start. Flights, I won't set flights for this campaign, but there are options to flight out your line item, right? If you want to allocate different budgets to different time periods within the larger window. You can also assign creatives to those flights as well if you want creatives to run alongside those windows. So again, won't set those now, but flighting is a great tool. And then optimization frequency cap options. So you can add frequency caps at the line or campaign level. So there are different options here to frequency cap on the standard, which is a cookie or device ID, or we also offer frequency capping on IP and several other options. So a lot of permutations of frequency caps here you can apply. Again, if you've applied one at the campaign already, you just want to keep in mind when you're applying at the line that we will use logic to adhere to the strictest frequency cap. So something to keep in mind. Vendor fees, we've covered quite a bit, so another option here. And then the rest of these, I won't touch on for now, but more advanced options that, again, we're happy to take you through after the webinar. So I'm going to do save and continue, and now I'm moving to the targeting section. So this is where you can add all of your targeting parameters. You can kind of move through the options here to select different categories. So I'm going to keep it very basic for the demo. So I'm just going to do United States. And let's say I want to target a specific exchange. So I'll also just select freewheel, and let's say for platform, I also want to do Chrome. So as I'm going through here, the summary tab is going to populate with what I've selected. So this is also a bit of a new navigation within our new line item workflow where you can go back and see what you've added very seamlessly and then continue to add parameters. So again, a lot more here that we could go through, but again, in the interest of time, I'm just going to keep the targeting very high level. So save and continue. Here is the modifier section that we've already reviewed, again, where you can modify your bid or your delivery allocation. So there's an opportunity to add that here. And so I'm going to go ahead. There are a few test modifiers here. I'm going to go ahead and just enter some default values for this bid modifier. So you'll notice, again, there are some advanced options here, but you can add max and minimum bids against the bid modifier. You can add different parameters. So there are a lot of different ways that you can adjust this. You can do the same with delivery modifiers. And so a lot of different ways to choose those options here. So I'm going to go to Creative Association, and I'm going to go ahead and choose the creative that I've uploaded. So we'll go ahead and we'll add that selected creative. Again, if there were other creatives in my account assigned to this advertiser already, I could add those. I can choose the creative weight, start and end date, and add other creatives here as well. So I'll save and continue for now, just adding that one creative. And so now I have a nice summary tab, right, where I'll be able to see all of the settings that I've added. I can review the targeting, the creative association. I would see all of the other parameters I might have added. And then we have our activity log here as well. So this is going to show you what's changed on the line. And we have this as an existing option, but I think we've refined the activity log to be a bit more easily readable, easy to track. So existing customers, I think, will love this feature. that this is now just a bit more digestible and easy to follow. So that is how you create a line item. One thing I want to go back and show you, because this is not something that's available within an existing line item workflow, is our analytics tab. So let me see if I can find an active line item. And I apologize that the UI is giving us some trouble. This is our test account, as I mentioned. So we do have a lot going on here as far as different ongoing tasks around understanding where we are making improvements. So that is definitely the reason why we're seeing some bumpiness here. So appreciate you bearing with us. So this analytics tab is also a new feature of line item, but is going to look a little bit different than what we see in the existing UI. So we have this amazing bids and wins tool, which is going to show you if your line item is actively bidding and winning. And you'll see it's not right now, but you'll also see here on the right a historical index of the bids and wins. So this is a great new feature along with these stats that you can see around the line item's historic performance, all consolidated here within the activity log. Again, this line item isn't spending right now, but if it was, you'd see budget and total impressions here, and you'll be able to track this as the campaign spends. And then we also have our forecasting tab living in this new analytics view. So this is where you can run a forecast to either predict available impressions against your parameters or to predict delivery, which is still in development but coming later this year. So again, excited to talk with you more about that as we continue to develop. And then bid decision flow, which is not going to populate because this isn't live, but bid decision flow allows you to see where your bids are being blocked and analyze that further. So a really great troubleshooting tool to be able to understand, okay, I'm seeing bids blocked because of mismatch in targeting or bid price, and then dig in further from there. So that is really the high level object walkthrough of the UI. And I'm going to go back now to the deck and I will turn it over to Erin.
Do you
Actually,
want
sorry. Yeah,
to?
before I do that. So I talked about the enhancements we're making this year, and I touched on that throughout my walkthrough. So again, we're putting forth a lot of effort into overhauling the UI, improving it, making it a lot more seamless and easy to use for customers. So this is just a list of all the different objects that we have in progress for upgrade over the next, frankly, 2 years. So again, all of this will be rolling out gradually. If you're an existing customer, we've had quite a few conversations about this. And if you're new, we're happy to give you a preview into what's coming. I know we'll also be doing another webinar in a few weeks to take you through these new enhancements in more detail. But really excited to just share this at a high level. And I think it really illustrates the level of commitment we have to improving our UI and our workflow and making it better for customers. So now I will turn it over to Erin for Q&A.
Yep. So if you haven't had a chance to add your questions to the chat, feel free to do so now. I did notice we did already get a couple questions, so we'll just get started. So if we select impressions, does that include vendor fees?
It's a great question. So no, you would have to select spend with vendor fees in order to incorporate vendor fees into the budget.
Awesome. And then am I able to test the new features before enabling them in my UI?
Also a great question. So yes, if you're an existing Beeswax customer, you have a sandbox account, and that allows us to deploy these updates into your sandbox. So you can do testing before we actually release them into production. And so again, we have a very structured rollout plan for all of these updates where your account team will be working with you to release them into your sandbox. And then once you're comfortable and, we've trained you and answered all of your questions, then move forward with releasing into production. So again, that sandbox is a great way to test all of this new stuff ahead of time.
Awesome. What reporting functionality is available within the UI?
Yeah, also a great question. So I know I didn't go into the reporting functionality too much. There was a reporting tab, right, that I hovered over. And so that had different reporting looks. We have all different types of pivots you can do, from inventory specifics to vendor fee specifics to just standard delivery. So we have all of those reporting options available in the UI that, again, we can take you through in a follow-up session. And then we also offer a really robust set of logs that a lot of customers choose to subscribe to. And so that will give you a lot of transparency across the full bid stream, and is a great way to dive in deeper on a reporting and analytics front. And then in tandem, again, we have all of these out of the box reports in the UI as well. So happy to follow up again with anyone who wants to learn more on what exactly we offer across our full reporting suite.
Awesome. And then this next question is there a list of available audiences or even just data suppliers that are natively available within the Beeswax platform?
Yes, also a great question. So we have a vast array of third-party data partnerships, both across measurement as well as audience. So there is a list of these available on our Beeswax help pages. So if you just go to help.beeswax.com, you can access those public docs. You can also browse in the UI if you're an existing customer in terms of what we have available. And then again, we can also consult with you separately offline about the different partnerships we have. But that is a big investment area for us. I think we have a really robust and comprehensive set of third-party partnerships across the board. So happy to, again, discuss offline to take you through all of the options.
Awesome. So it looks like we don't have any. Oh, actually, we do have more questions. Can we create an audience based on location, aka geofencing?
So we do have a partnership with Factual, where we can allow you to leverage that connection to create geofence segments. So there's a whole host of steps that goes into that workflow. So I won't go into it in too much detail here, but yes, that is an option, and we can chat about it more after this webinar if you want to move forward with understanding the requirements and actually getting that process kicked off.
Awesome. Okay. It looks like every time I'm like, I think we're done. We do have some more
Hey,
questions. So
keep them coming.
yeah, keep them coming. Is there any way to bulk assign multiple creatives to a line item as opposed to assigning them individually?
Yes, so creative bulk edit is actually a new feature of our new creative workflow. So not something we offered in a super seamless way before, but is an enhancement that we've built into the new version of the UI within the creative tab. So follow up to learn more about that. But yes, that is a frequent ask from customers. So really glad to have built in that enhancement.
And then will we be able to send the rollout schedule? We can send that out. We will do, yeah, we can send out the actual schedule, the list of new enhancements, and then just a vague like timeline for when they'll be coming out.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, so your account team will work with you on really specifically testing dates, migration dates, and rollout dates in a cadence that you're comfortable with, and again, in a cadence where you can test within Sandbox, you know, really working with customers hand in hand on this. And again, it's going to be an iterative process over the next, again, several years. So we can follow up, and please actually reach out to your account team and they'll be able to share with you in more detail what the schedule looks like and get you testing as much as you can right now. Really wanted to just show it at a high level, but with each customer, we'll be diving more deeply on the planned rollout. And again, working with you to make sure you're comfortable as we move forward.
Awesome. Okay, any other questions? Feel free to send them now. It doesn't look like we have anything else coming in. Okay, so it looks like we can wrap it up here. If you do have any more questions, feel free to reach out to your account management team or send an email to marketing@beeswax.com and we'll be able to answer your questions there. Just additional housekeeping items before we sign off. We are recording this, so we will be sending out the recording to everyone who registered, so you can reference this later. And then the last thing is just be on the lookout for more communication from us about upcoming webinars and events that we'll be at. And I hope everyone has a great evening or morning wherever you are. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.